Hey guys, this is the mind of Lilith, and thank you for joining me today as I take a deeper look into the most recent episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 5, Episode 6. I am not doing a full episode recap as there are plenty of other content creators who cover this show really well. Instead, I'm going to focus on specific segments of the episode that I believe can be used as teachable moments for myself and the audience. So basically, the cast is recapping the events that happened last week at Madani's, which was Destiny's beauty supply store, and Maurice and Kimmy and Tisha talking about what transpired. As a side note, I've always wondered why some bald men have indentations or grooves in their skulls where their hair used to be. Yet some men like Martell don't have those lines in their skulls. Like Michael Jordan has been bald for 30 something years and he doesn't have those grooves in his skull. But some men, they have it's like their skull is shaped where their hair used to be. Why is that? Maybe some dermatologists in the audience can help me with that. And I'm not joking. I just always wonder why that is. Anyway, so Tisha is upset because Marceau basically dismissed her and told her to stand down. When I am in the middle of a confrontation, let me protect you. If you don't let me protect you and you want to flap your yaps and get in the mix, you could put me in a situation where I end up in jail because I'm going to protect you no matter what. So please be aware of what you say and what you do, because as your husband, it is my duty and obligation and my honor to protect my wife. A few weeks ago when P&B Rock was killed, a few men expressed the same sentiment. And one of them was like, I cannot be with a woman who does not allow me to protect her. I cannot do it because I'm going to end up in jail or somebody's going to end up dead, right? Because I'm going to hurt the person who's trying to hurt my wife or my girlfriend. And if she's out here doing things and not listening to me because she's being silly in La La Land and she's not aware of danger because she's not a man, then I can't really rock with her like that, right? And this is what usually happens in situations where men get killed for their girlfriends, because sometimes their girlfriends are not aware of the danger that they're in. Marceau said the two people who were least likely to suffer from a fallout of a fight were the ones who were amplifying the situation even more. He meant Melody and Miss Wanda. Miss Wanda, as we all know, instigated this mess. And last week I said that although I do understand and agree with Melody confronting Miss Wanda, I also said that ultimately it will be a fruitless endeavor because Miss Wanda is messy and ratchet, right? And somebody in the audience said, well, it seems like she's toned herself down, right? To which I responded, Martell confronted Miss Wanda 2 seasons ago, right? About talking about his kids. A grown man got in Miss Wanda's face and said, stop talking about my kids. And she did not care. Why didn't she care? Because Martell emboldened Miss Wanda. Miss Wanda never liked Melody anyway. And she wanted an excuse to shit on Melody. She wanted Melody to have a dent in her crown. And she's going to focus on that dent because people like Miss Wanda love to weaponize your mistakes against you, right? People like Miss Wanda are very jealous of others. So in spite of all your accomplishments, in spite of all the good work you do for your community, they will remind you of the little mistake you made when you were at your low point 15, 20 years ago, because they want to humble you or deflate your balloon to the point where now they are not as intimidated by you. Yes, she got money. Yes, she cute, but at least I'm not divorced. At least I never cheated on my husband. At least my daughter is still married. At least my daughter's husband doesn't have babies running around here. It's always going to be a comparison and competition with messy women like Miss Wanda. So she wanted an excuse to attack Melody for anything, and Martell gave her the ammunition to do this, right? So anyway, Marceau expressed that he and Martell pieced things up because the issue was never between them anyway. They never had the problem. The problem was with Mrs. Wanda and Melody. Marceau doesn't have an issue with Melody either, and Martell is trying to work things out with Melody too. I just noticed that Melody has not recorded any scenes with Marceau this season, from what I remember, season 4 and now 5. Anyway, that's not important. So essentially, Tisha is being called out for not understanding that her mother is the cause of all these problems, and they're blaming her for letting her mother do whatever she wants to do. And Miss Wanda does not respect her daughter enough to honor her daughter's wishes and respect her daughter's friendships, and to not put a strain on her daughter's marriage. Miss Wanda doesn't respect anybody, not even her own daughter. So when I said Melody should have left Miss Wanda alone, not because she's not justifiably angry, but because it's like being mad at a rock. The rock is still going to be a rock. It's still not going to listen. It's going to do what it wants to do. It's like talking to a brick wall. Miss Wanda wants to fight, right? And again, Melody was not wrong in confronting her, but it was for nothing, because if she and Melody are in the same room again, within a week or two, it'll go back to the same mess. And I don't like seeing women like Melody fighting in the streets. Miss Wanda, I get it. That's who she is. I would not be surprised. But I remember the way that Melody presented herself in season 1. I remember how she dressed. I remember how she spoke. I remember the way that she carried herself. This is not how she wants to represent her brand. And that brings me to my second point. So one of the people in the audience told me that Carlos King addressed the audience and their complaints about the show becoming ratchet, and saying that it's not fair for our community to put so much pressure on reality TV stars and celebrities to represent us as a collective. No other community does this. We don't do this to white people. I am sick and tired of the white people do it too cop out. White people have the money, they have the power, they have the resources, they have the social equity that affords them the opportunities to be ratchet on TV and not be judged as a collective. So for every white honey boo boo show they have on TV, every ridiculousness show, every jackass that they have 10 or 15, 20 shows that represent them in a good light, right? That showcase their accomplishments, their wealth, their intellect, their power, their strength. Ratchetness is overrepresented in black media spaces. We got to deal with ratchet music. We got to deal with ratchet TV shows. We got to deal with ratchet movies. Everything about us does not have to be slop or chitlins, okay? Some of us want better for our people. Yes, everybody gets into fights. Nobody is saying that fighting is wrong or bad, right? Nobody is saying that these people need to be the Cosbys. Nobody is saying that at all. But what we are saying is that we remember how the show first started. And some people in the audience, like myself, right? I'm going to say me in particular. I want the cast members' intentions to be honored. I remember in the reunion for season 1, Marcel was very measured and calculated in his conversations about the show, and the issues with Tisha and Melody. In season 1, he told Tisha, do not let these people make a fool of you on national TV. These people may or may not be successful in their own right, but that is how they wanted to present themselves to the masses. They did not want to present themselves as drug dealers or twerkers or rappers or murderers or gangsters. They presented themselves as professional married parents, right? Everybody on this show. And that is why people like me, in particular, I'm speaking for myself, that's why I gravitated to the show in the first place. I did not want to see Love and Hip Hop's Huntsville. I did not want to see Flavor of Love. I didn't even want to see Real Housewives of Atlanta because I felt like the women weren't doing anything productive for their communities. I liked this show because we had productive members of society representing Black excellence. We always want to brag about our ancestors who sacrificed for us, right? Who did not have perfect lives, okay? They had lots of trauma, lots of abuse, lots of dysfunction, etc. But when the cameras were on, they always represented us with honor and respect. So we hold these people up in the air, our ancestors, Maya Angelou and James Baldwin and Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X and Dr. King. We hold these people up as representatives of Black excellence, as though their sacrifices absolve us of any responsibility to present ourselves in a way that honors their legacy and their sacrifice. Every time these white supremacists from other countries who look like us sometimes, right? who come here and they talk shit about Black Americans. We always hold up the people who sacrificed for us. And those people, even though they had ratchet private lives and they had lots of trauma, they always made sure to represent us with honor, class, and respect. We cannot have it both ways and say, you know what, we have the right to be ratchet. It is not fair to put all this pressure on people to represent the race. And you know what? On its face, it's true. But at the same time, we love bragging about the people who did that, though. We love bragging about our historical Black leaders who started the HBCUs, who fought for civil rights and human rights, who contributed to society, right? Because every so often, every 5 or 10 years, the racists in this world, of all complexions, of all nationalities, right, of all races, they challenge Black Americans and they say, what have you done for society? What have you done for humanity? You're nothing but a bunch of rappers, you're baby mamas, you're stupid, you're ghetto, you're this and you're that. And we got to hold up examples of Black excellence from 25, 30, 40 years ago, because apparently we hardly have any examples of Black excellence today. We have been flooded with bullshit from the music industry, from the movie industry, from the television industry for the past at least 30 years. Okay, so if some of us are saying enough, we're tired of this bullshit, can we have one Black show that honors the integrity of the cast members, that it's not always about fighting and ratchetry? Yes, fighting brings ratings, but Martell and Melody's drama was enough, right? Some of us don't need to be entertained by constant brawls and fights. And I talked about this almost a year ago, about us changing our appetite for drama, okay? This is not a judgment or anybody. Drama is entertaining. It is what it is, right? And people have drama in their lives. I just want the show to get back to what it was supposed to be about in the first place. And I was going to say that before I saw the episode. I was going to address what Carlos King said yesterday, but I was too busy. And that was before I watched the show. And I was going to say that, you know, the reason why this is upsetting to me, them fighting, is not because people don't fight and they're supposed to represent Black culture. It's because I know that based on the way that these people came onto this show, the way it first started, this is not how they wanted to represent themselves, their families, their communities, their co-workers, nothing. They always talked about Black excellence from the very beginning. That was their intention. And now that we've deviated from that, we have the right to say, you know what? Hold up. Y'all doing too much. Y'all got to course correct here because it's going down a very gnarly path, right? And it's going down a gnarly path because of people like Miss Wanda, who were never about Black excellence. She's about Black ratchetness. She's of the type that would say that Melody was acting bougie, right? You remember in season 1, Kimmy and Tisha said Melody was acting bougie-er, okay? When she became more successful, she wanted to network in different circles. You know, things started to change in her life. Her brand started to grow, right? And so they called her bougie, which is fine. She may have been bougie, whatever. But the fact that they call Melody bougie, to me, indicates that Melody worked really, really hard to get to the point where she would exemplify Black excellence in the best way, right? A beautiful, educated young mother, wife, previously wife, right? Running businesses, taking care of the kids, you know, helping out the community. That is what they were supposed to be about from the very beginning. And they deviated from that path because of the drama between Martell and Melody and Tisha and Melody and the castmates. It just got really nasty fast, okay? And some of the audience members are not helping with their bloodlust for more drama. So anyway, of course, Carlos is going to say it's not fair to put this pressure on their backs. Fine, I agree with that. However, it is reasonable for us to expect not to be fed chitlins and slop every time we turn the TV on because we're just Black people and we should be happy to see Black folks on TV. I don't want to see Marceau fighting in the street at all. I don't want to see Martell's cinder block head fighting in the street. I don't want to see Marceau, who's a lawyer, Maurice, who's a lawyer, fighting in the street. I would be the boring friend who would tell these people, listen, you are better than this. Yes, Miss Wanda ain't shit. And she knows she ain't shit. But you're literally better than this. You have too much to lose here. Keep your cool. You are justifiably upset but you have to channel that energy elsewhere because you're going to be dragged into the gutter by the likes of Miss Wanda. So Martell and Melody have a conversation outside about staying away from Miss Wanda. And basically, I think she's been axed from the show to an extent, right? I haven't seen her or heard from her ever since. She was causing too much drama, and she wasn't even a principal cast member of the show. So how was she allowed so much power in the first place? So yes, I think the fight and the petition to get Miss Wanda off the show could have been the last straw for her. Now, I respect what Carlos King is trying to do with his production company. There's no shade against him and his business acumen and his work ethic. Nothing about that at all, right? But I have the right to say, as a member of the Black community, that I want to see my people represented better. I want to see the intentions of these people honored because they have a lot more to offer than ratchet bullshit. I don't know any of these people, but I care about them enough to want better for them. I watched Love and Marriage Huntsville from the very beginning, from season 1, episode 1, when it first aired in 2019, right? I watched it. I love the premise of the show. A small southern town, right? Small, like I said, compared to New York. A family living in a small southern town, a Black family, right? Representing southern culture, community, family, business. These men were not glorifying the worst of our community. They were trying to model good marriages, right? Fatherhood, entrepreneurship, collaboration and teamwork within your community. They were trying to do all these things. That's what they were trying to do. I have to respect their efforts. Just because they failed, because, things happen and you have to get back up again and do what you got to do and start over again. But I respect their intent. I respect the fact that they did not try to come on TV acting a goddamn fool. And I said this before, it really hurts my feelings how things ended up with these people. They were genuine friends in the beginning, and they had so much potential to build together and do good work for the community. But, human nature gets in the way. And then some of the audience members are coming along, adding fuel to the fire and wanting shit to pop off because they have a bloodlust for drama. Melody's divorce situation was very tragic because nobody got what they wanted in that situation. Everybody lost a piece of themselves due to Martell's affair. Martell lost a lot. We can say it's his fault, but he lost a lot. Melody lost a lot. Ariane lost a lot. Everybody lost. That was a tragedy in the situation, and it was unnecessary. People love seeing Martell and Melody together, but Martell had no intention of changing. But guess what? Melody didn't come on the show acting a fool. She tried to put a united front for the public. Team Holt, the power couple, right? Magazine covers and interviews and things like that. She wanted to present her husband and represent her husband in her community in the best way possible. But so much stuff has happened to her. I think that, and I'm going to just assume this, at the time as she was filming this show, there was so much stuff happening to her. She's off balance, I can sense. And I'm saying this from experience. When I went through back-to-back traumas years ago, at some point my personality became very easily agitated. I became very sensitive to everything, ready to fight at the slightest notice. Every little thing triggered me. I was very impatient. I was very confrontational when I was going through so much trauma back to back. And I talked about this a few months ago on my other channel. I said that Melody is hypervigilant, and she's not bitter. She's just hypervigilant right now. She's traumatized by everything that's happened within a short span of time. So in the spirit of moving forward, she's had to take on a certain survivalist mindset that makes it easier for Miss Wanda and people like Miss Wanda to trigger her into reacting and responding to situations in a way that is not a true reflection of her brand, right? If we remember in season 2, when Martell tried to accuse Melody of infidelity, Melody said, "I will knock this MFer in his face. You will not ruin my brand." Melody is very image conscious. She's very business oriented, right? And she knows how important it is to represent yourself in a way that is attractive to consumers, to advertisers, to business partners, etc. Okay? Melody's personality has done almost a full 180 because of everything she's gone through. Yes, she slapped Martell in the face before. She has a temper, right? It is what it is. But again, when she first came on TV in 2019, Her image was very carefully crafted. What she wore, her hair, which I prefer her with the short hair. I've always said that because she has a very beautiful small face. Her hair, her outfits, you know, the way she spoke to her husband, everything was very calculated. It's just that she got tore down so badly by the people around her and by the situation with Martel that I feel like she's not in her right frame of mind all the time. She's not emotionally grounded. I'll just say that, right? She's not emotionally grounded to the point where people like Miss Wanda can take advantage of that and trigger her into a bullshit ass conversation and fight that really is not going to go anywhere, because Miss Wanda is going to continue to be who she is. Again, Miss Melody had the right to defend herself and her children. But, and I'm glad she mentioned this, as long as she's around Miss Wanda, she's going to keep finding herself in situations where she has to defend herself from Miss Wanda's stupidity and her ridiculousness. This is what happens, right? Funky Dineva showed up on the show, which I liked his role in the show. He can be, I think he should be a friend to the show since him and Marceau are so cool. And Funky Dineva is a great communicator. He basically told Tisha to establish firm boundaries for her mother. Tisha's afraid of asserting herself and saying, listen, I'm a grown woman, okay? I have my own life, my own family, my own husband, whatever. Please don't disrespect my marriage, because she knows her mom doesn't respect her. And Tisha may be afraid of losing her mother's love if she stands up to her. That is something that I think she's concerned about. I don't think Miss Wanda will love Tisha any less for standing up to her. But I do think that Miss Wanda is petty and that she will make Tisha feel bad for standing up for herself, right? And I feel like Tisha is concerned about that part. All right, on to Destiny and them. You know, whatever. Destiny was like, Melody did not greet her. Melody barely acknowledged Destiny, and Destiny was too much in her own funk to realize that Melody did say something to her, but Melody did not greet her the way that Stormy did, right? You saw what Stormy did. She made eye contact with Destiny. She walked over to her. She spoke with her, looked her in the eye, gave her something, right? There was an exchange, there was communication, there was a dialogue between them, whether it was curt or not. There was an effort to communicate between the two. Melody does not talk to people like that. She doesn't just say hi and then walks away. No, she tries to walk over and will give you a hug and, you know, ask how you're doing. That's how gracious Melody usually is. So in my mind, she didn't say nothing to Destiny, in my opinion. It was just a quick, you know, here's a bone, whatever. And again, Melody's entitled to do that. But then why show up to the event? Unless the producers asked her to do that. Melody, I don't think she would have showed up regardless. But I don't think she would have, because she had no reason to. She don't like Miss Wanda, and she wasn't really messing with Destiny like that. So, and the event was not that big of a deal for her to actually show up in the first place. So, she was asked to come, and we saw it in her interaction and her energy towards Destiny. Stormy has a beautiful home, a beautiful estate, and she was talking to Tiffany about what happened. And basically, yeah, you know, she made a little joke about Destiny's store seeing more action than it ever has been because of whatever. And at some point, Destiny meets up with Stormy and they talk about their business relationship. It's whatever. We'll see what happens in the future. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I look forward to reading your comments. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will speak to you soon.